is card reading all about? Well, let's first define the divine before we talk about what is divination or what is talking to the divine. So when we talk about that, it's really subjective. So if we look at the divine as infinite intelligence, undefinable, the conscious universe, you could call it source, the invisible, a conscious creative power, and some people say it's God. So cartomancy, which is actually a fancy schmancy name for reading cards, cartomancy and divination is all about connecting directly to the divine intelligence of the conscious universe or God, goddess, or whatever you feel comfortable naming that, which is infinite and powerful and higher than the human ego. Now you're asking for guidance from a higher power about your life. Now that is what it's supposed to be for. The cards are the intermediary between you and the divine, and synchronicity is what makes them able to speak. Now, using a system and language of symbols and metaphors with corresponding imagery that are on the cards is how this works. Those symbols that are on the cards provide insight into your potential and possibilities. A good card reader is able to really help someone understand where they've been, where they are now, and where they are headed. They can provide insight and deeper understanding for a person who comes for guidance. So you're kind of like a part mystical interpreter, practical guide, and a coach. So how does it work? How does card reading actually work? What's the mechanics of it? So let's start with synchronicity. When you work with cards, synchronicity is engaged. Now, no one really knows how that works, but it's a meaningful coincidence without obvious effort to ensure causality. So what that means in English is that you can't tell what caused the truth to show up. So it's kind of like the universe working on your behalf anonymously. Synchronicity is uncanny. And it's the uncanny nature of quantum physics, where there's a relationship between the observer and that which is being observed. So there's actually a science to this too. And the bottom line is, you have to experience it. It's not an intellectual or logical experience. But we know, and you know, it works.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the divine. So what does that mean? What is the divine? Some people use the word source, they use the word universe. I'm a big fan of that one. Some people say God or goddess. In my opinion, all of those words mean exactly the same thing. I tend to run the gamut. Who knows which word I might use? If I use a word that doesn't feel right to you, then just in your mind substitute it for the word that best describes in your heart the all that is. So one of the things that I really feel strongly about is that God is big. Like really, really big. You can't put God in a box. And people really love to put God in a box. They love to make God humanized. So when people say that God can do miracles, but tarot doesn't work, that's just crazy to me. When people say that God created the universe in 7 days, but astrology isn't possible, come on. That's putting God in a box. That's humanizing him or her. The infinite is infinite. Source is a word for something that doesn't have a word. The divine is perfectly capable of making magic beyond your wildest dreams. And it is perfectly capable of making that magic work for you and the person next to you and everyone around you. The universe is just dying to talk to you. It really is. And it does it in many different ways. You might find a white feather on your way to your car. This is a sign that angels are with you. Perhaps you'll turn on the radio and some song will come on, and that song is specifically exactly what you had in your mind that you wanted to hear. That's just a little love letter from Source. Card reading is just one way to talk to heaven. I like to call all of these different ways astrology, numerology, runes. All of these are just different languages of the divine. They're answers for those who seek. And you know what? We all seek. We're always searching for something in our lives that we think would give us a clue to the way we will find our way towards joy. These languages for the divine, they're a map for those who feel lost. It's a path towards joy. In your journey to becoming a card reader, you have the opportunity to help people find the answers that they seek. You get to be that calendar for those who feel lost. You can bring the blessings from the divine through yourself in order to show people a path towards joy. Or you can just do it for yourself and those you love. So, how does it work? How does intuition work? So, here's what I want you to think about. Think about drops of water from a fountain. Imagine that you're at one of those amazing fountains, like in Europe, or better yet, Disney World. And the water is shooting up into the air. So every single one of those little drops of water, that's one of us. And the water that's at the basin of the fountain, that is Source. That is the divine. So when that water sprays up into the air, that's us separating from the divine for ever so short a time. And guess what's going to happen? We're going to go back. We're going to go back to that basin of water because there is nowhere else to go. But while we're up there we are still connected. There is magic inside of you. The magic of the divine of that basin of water is inside of you, flying through the sky, learning all kinds of amazing and magical things, but you're still connected. That's how intuition works, because you're still connected. There's also this little thing that you probably know about. It's called the law of attraction. And it basically states that upon which we put our attention, that's what we draw in. And so by focusing on the things that we want to bring into our lives, we can bring in happiness and joy. Or we can bring in no small amount of unhappiness and fear. I prefer the former. I don't know about you. And so one of the things that I did when I was creating the cards was I tried to make them more positive, to help you while you are accessing that inner magic that is within you, to see things in a positive light, and so that you can use the cards also as a way of manifesting magic into your life. So I hope that gave you what you needed to know, and I hope that clears up exactly what it means to be in your divine space.
In the last 15 years of my study within spirituality, one of the most important things that I have found is that we all have the capacity, the potential, and the ability to create a direct connection with the divine. We can speak to angels, the universe, that incredible energy of love that streams through us every single day. And the practice of divination is something that supports us connecting with the divine. Now, one of the most important things that I've found is when it comes to creating a connection with the universe, with the angels, with our guides, and with divine information that can come to us, is the biggest challenge that most people face is they think that this is a gift that's installed in selected people. So we've heard stories about people having these experiences of angels. We've heard stories about biblical figures being able to speak to God. We've heard stories of shamans channeling beings from other worlds, but we find it very difficult to believe that that is also possible for us. We seem to think that it's for a selected few. But one of the most important things that I've discovered is that we all have come from the same life force. We've all came from the same source of creation. And so as we've all came from the same source of creation, we're all equals. We've all came from the same place. We'll all return to that same place. And the one thing that psychics and scientists are now agreeing on is the fact that energy is in everything and everyone, and the energy cannot be destroyed. It can only change from one form to another. And so when we want to connect with the divine, when we want to open up to the divine, we have to come back to that remembrance that we are actually interconnected with the infinite force of life right now. We have to remember that within us, we have a soul. Within us, we have a spirit. And so therefore, because we have a soul and because we have a spirit, we have the capacity to connect with that energy. The other big challenge that many of us face when it comes to opening up with the divine is the idea that, is this possible for me? And that's usually down to the idea if we are worthy or not. One of the most important things I want to share with you right now is that you are worthy of opening up to spirit. You are worthy of harnessing a connection to the divine because you are spirit and you are the divine. And so really, this whole connection of speaking to the divine and opening up to divine guidance is all about recognizing that within you is this incredible spark of splendor, something that St. Francis called the eternal loveliness. It's that moment of recognizing that within you is this eternal connection to the everything that is and ever will be. It's that remembrance that because you are interconnected to everything that is and ever will be, you have the potential to open up to that force of love that is within you. You are worthy of speaking to the divine. You are worthy of opening up your spiritual gifts. And it's down to your capacity and ability to remember that within you now is a soul, a spirit, this part of you that will never die, it will never cease to be, it will continue forever and always. So now that we've spoken about your capacity to hear the divine is down to your capacity to remember that you are divine, I think one of the most important things we do right now in this space is set an intention, because intention is everything. What you intend to do on the inside is what you will create on the outside. And so if you want to open up and harness your connection to your guides, to your angels, to divine guidance as it comes to you, it's so important to get into that mindset that you are worthy and you are able to open up to that connection. And so right now, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, put everything down and close your eyes and just take a moment and take a big deep breath in. And let all of that go. And in your heart, feel gratitude. Be grateful for the fact that you are here right now in this space, and that within you is a connection to all living things. Within you is a connection to a higher power. And that higher power, even though it is higher, is not bigger or greater than you. It is within you. And you are connected to that source of love. Feel the gratitude of knowing that you are connected to something greater, and so therefore are part of something greater. And as you connect to that energy of gratitude, the gratitude you feel raises your vibration, allows you to be seen and heard by the divine. It allows you to shine that little bit brighter. And as you shine brighter in this moment, it becomes a perfect opportunity for you to step into the intention that you are willing to awaken your divine connection. This is not something that you are learning. This is something that you are choosing to remember. Before you were embodied in this body, you were part of the stars. Even scientists will agree that your physical being is made of stardust. And so awaken that energy within you that you are part of the cosmos. You are a living, breathing entity within the universe, the divine. And as you step into that intention that you are willing to awaken and to remember that you are part of something greater, you also step into that mindset that you are also willing to hear, to see, to connect with, and communicate with that energy. And so in your own words and from your own heart, just say, divine energy, that presence we call God, I am willing to communicate with you. It feels so good to remember I have the potential to know you on a personal level. It feels so good to know that you can speak to me in my own language in a way that feels comfortable for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am willing to know you. I am willing to hear you. I am willing to be guided by you. And right now, as we set that intention, let's just say that the intention we set together today is for the highest and greatest good of all beings. And everything that we take from this experience becomes a learning experience. And all that we receive is all that we can therefore share. And take a big deep breath into that. And let it all go. And come back into the space, open your eyes. You have it within you to know the divine. You have it within you to connect with the divine. You have it within you to create your very own individual personal language with the divine. That's an amazing thing. Feel excited about this journey and about this process. You are remembering your cosmic self, your true self, the self that's within you that's made of unconditional love.
So the most simple is perhaps something you've been doing already, but you might not have been doing it in this way. I call it the Ashe spread. So I want you right now, wherever you are, to say out loud, Ashe. Yes, so you say Ashe aloud and you pull one card. So I'm gonna show you, because Ashe is the Yoruba philosophy of life force energy. So let's do that now. So I am a person who shuffles the cards, not in a complicated way. I've seen people do Vegas style shuffling and all of that. I do very simple card shuffling, probably that I was doing with my Uno deck when I was a kid, right? So with the Ashe spread, you would shuffle the cards, and then when you feel like you are in alignment, and that is the message, or if you have a jumper and a card jumps out and says, this is the message, you declare Ashe, which can be translated as so let it be, and you would turn the card over to read the card. And I am laughing because I knew which card that this would be. If you are familiar with my work, you can probably guess too, but it is Mama Oshun. It is Oshun, the card of fearless love. She is the Yoruba goddess of beauty, of love, of you being firmly in your divine feminine energy. And she is my personal mother goddess. So there is Goddess Oshun reminding you to be in fearless love with yourself, with your life, and with the people that you care about. So you can do the Ashe reading anytime you need clarity, anytime you have a question, or you require guidance. This is a really easy daily reading to do in the morning or before bed. So in the morning, you would be doing it for inspiration, and before bed, you might be doing it to find out, an interpretation of how the day's events went.
This spread is actually from the Starseed Oracle deck, which actually has a wonderful triangular shaped box, which is intended for interactive use, which I'll be using during this reading. But of course, you can still do this spread with any of the decks that you've got and that you like to do your readings with. So the Soul Whispers spread is a really simple 2-card spread that is wonderful to really help you to hear the whispers of your soul and then turn these whispers into grounded action. This is a spread that I do as part of my daily spiritual practice. And the reason I love it so much is because it's really simple, practical, and succinct. It's a really great one when you want clear guidance with practical grounded action to make something happen or manifest. It's a wonderful spread to start a reading off. It's also great if you're doing a session with someone and want a little bit of an overall view of their situation. And it's also a good one to do at the end of a session if you've got just a little bit of extra time at the end of the session and you want to help your client leave with something very actionable to do. So for this one, I'm going to select 2 different cards. So position 1 represents what your soul wants you to know. So I'm just going to put this down here. And then position 2 is the grounded action. So the action that your soul is guiding you to take. So looking at these cards here, we've got in position 1, cracked open, rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. And then in position 2, we have lifting the veil, questioning everything, anything unaligned must go. So in position 1, this is what your soul is calling you to do. Cracked open, rock bottom, surrender. So this card really does represent the soul being called, is calling you to really let life crack you open, really surrender to stepping into the great mystery and the great unknown. They say that when we allow our life to crack us open, when we allow the mystery to really unravel us, we are able to really surrender from our own personal will to the greater will. And we're all cyclic beings, constantly changing form, changing states. Change is one of the most inevitable things of life. But what is one of the biggest challenges of life is to allow ourselves to change, allow things to fall away that are no longer in alignment, which is really what this second card is all about. This is in the position of the grounded action, lifting the veil, questioning everything, anything unaligned must go. So you can see in this card, it really is all about dropping anything that feels false, dropping anything that is no longer in alignment. It really does work well with this cracked open card because it's like life is attempting to crack us open, and then the grounded action is really surrendering to what it is within our life that doesn't feel in alignment or is falling away. So that is the Soul Whispers spread.